My engine design. It's mainly the cylinder heads. Right here's the cylinder heads. This is the engine block, pistons inside of it. This one's the 8 cylinder, so there'd be 8 pistons and piston rods. There's the crankshaft. Timing chain goes around and around these two cam pulleys, and this is a tensioner to tension it with some wheels on it. And it's mainly the camshaft valve design. This would be the intake, this would be the exhaust. Here's the exhaust ports. There'd be intake ports on this side, and then exhaust ports on this side. Along the side, 4 of them on each side, 4 intake ports. And here's the main thing: is there's 2 camshafts, one for the intake, one for the exhaust. There'd be a oil jacket that goes over this that the oil pumps up from an impeller on the crankshaft, and there'd be passages that goes up into the cylinder head, and then a jacket that bolts over these camshafts with half circle valves and pumps oil on, and then over one spot that pumps oil onto the tops of the timing chain. Here's how the kind of a close-up of how the camshaft be. Here's the gear, here's the shaft of the camshaft, and then there'd be a half circle that acts like the valve with spring-loaded sealing bars, kind of like a Winkle rotary engine, but it's just a half circle. And right around in a passage in the cylinder head, and then the oil jacket. I didn't draw the oil jacket, but it just bolt over this gasket, and then the oil jacket would bolt over it. And it has passages to lubricate the camshaft bearings and every valve. So there's spring-loaded little bars that act like almost like a piston ring or a sealing ring. At least probably 5 of them, each half circle. And so when this spins, like this one's on the upstroke, they'll both be shut. There'll be passages that go to each valve. Like the intake side, there'd be a passage to each intake valve, and then the exhaust to each exhaust valve. So when it's spinning, they'd be closed and open at different times if they complete a circle or face away from each other. It'd be alternating. So when the piston's going up, it'd be sealed and it'd fire, and then when it's going down, the intake will be opened up and the exhaust will be closing, and it'll be filling with fuel and air, and then it'll go back up, and then they'll both close, and the exhaust will be about to open, and the intake one will be spinning around to go for the next round of fuel and air, and it'd detonate, the piston would go down, the exhaust valve would spin and open, the intake one, and then it'd shut, and then the intake one, well, it'd spin and open, and the intake one would be about to open to let air into the engine. The exhaust one would shut, the intake one would open, the piston would go down, it'd suck fuel and air in, and it'd shut, and the exhaust one would be about to open, and it'd come back up and detonate, and then the exhaust one will open up, and it'll keep doing that. When the engine's spinning, it'll spin both camshafts with this timing chain on each cylinder head. And this could be done in like different engine sizes: 4-cylinder, V6, 8-cylinder, even more than 8 cylinders. But this is the main concepts: that half circle valve idea. It just spins in a channel in the cylinder head, and then the oil jacket that bolt over this to supply oil to all of them, and the camshaft bearings. And that's my camshaft idea. That's half circle valves. They're part of the camshaft. I just drew the first one on this just to give like a close-up of the spring-loaded sealing rods or bars. And that's my idea for the new age camshaft idea. There's no valve springs, no valves, no valve seats, no lifters. And the crank would just have the fittings on it, the impeller for the oil pump, and the spots for the piston arms, and counterweights on it. And that's my idea for the new age spring valve stemless camshafts. Well, it still has springs on the sealing bars, little tiny ones between there and the half circle valve. But it won't have the standard valve spring, valve stem, and valve seats. And it'll be a non-interference engine, and then the spark plug will go right between each one. So that would be a spark plug here, 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 at the top of the engine. And that's my idea for a newer style, I think better valve camshaft combo.